Hi, Mark. Yeah, it's Wednesday, April the 8th at 9:40 a.m. Eastern, 1:40 p.m. GMT. US session well underway and lots to see here following yesterday's um, peace settlement ceasefire between US and Iran, brokered by Pakistan. And the two parties will be meeting to finalize and to iron out details and to I guess a lot to cover once the two parties really get into the terms of the settlement, and that's starting on Friday in Islamabad. The market has reacted sharply as expected, and the US dollar from risk off, where the US dollar during the conflict and during the war, demand for the US dollar, liquidity, safe haven, all that turnaround in an instant, and the demand for equities and risk on, and that meant US dollar sold off and sold off strongly from around 99.45, reopened to start the new trading day 98.70 and moved all the way down to 98.26 support. But US dollar is fighting back now that the US session is underway. If I zoom in on the hourly, there you see the attempted fight back in this hour. Bullish engulfing candlestick for now, could change, but right now we're seeing US dollar fight back, but certainly a long way to go. And US dollar was sold off strongly yesterday, continued so far during the Asian European session. We'll see whether this US dollar fight back continues or whether we continue or carry on seeing US dollar weakness. 98.26 support, 98.86 resistance. Let's have a look at the majors. And there you see, in keeping with weak US dollar, you can see the gap up, how the Euro USD pair strengthened from closing at 115.94, just under the 116.92 right now, almost at 117. I've got resistance 117.23. I've got support at 116.62. We'll see whether this can continue. Bear in mind the average true range only so much that the euro can strengthen, move against a weak US dollar, but we'll see whether this does continue, or if we do get a turnaround and US dollar buyers step back in and look to sell and look back down at the 116.20, 116.62, the support for now. Let's have a look at the pound against the US. And there you see a similar pattern. Pound was bouncing back yesterday and then aided by the US dollar weakening the way it did on the announcement of the ceasefire, 132.88, just under the 133 level, and then reopened at 134, and I've got resistance at 134.88. Tough resistance level, you can see that, and the wick at the top of this body, US dollar buyers have stepped in. There you can see the attempted fight back by the US. We'll see whether that does materialize as the US session continues. US dollar against the yen. There's the big gap down, selling US, buying yen, weak US dollar against the yen from 159.59, reopened at 158.75, and we've seen already supported 157.86. There's the US dollar fighting back. That's the wick at the bottom of the body. Buyers of US, sellers of yen will look to get back up to that 159 resistance area, but certainly weak US dollar against the yen as well. Let's have a look at the US against the Canadian. US dollar fighting back against the Canadian, the most as opposed to the other majors, we're still struggling to fight back the US dollar. Here we see the fight back. Initially, did weaken against the Canadian from closing at 138.83 and then reopening at 138.44. That's weak US dollar, selling US, buying Canadian, but unable to maintain US dollar, stepped in at the support at 138.23, now sitting at 138.62 and looking up at the 138.73 resistance level. Bit of a different picture from the other majors, but overall, certainly US dollar weakness. US dollar has been sold off following the new development. We'll see whether that does continue, if the US dollar can fight back today. We have got all our levels to work with. Good trading, and I'll see you at the end of day.